what impact do you think this will have in terms of if these deficits keep going? And it doesn't look like this, as you said, there's all these phenomena which suggest it will, especially, Europe's going to be investing 2 or 3% more of their GDP into defense. So, yeah, how do you see the outcome of that being if there is no change?
Well, it's sort of country by country. The United States, I think, is the most likely for this to end in inflation. The Federal Reserve's not, I'm sure we'll come to talking about it later, but it's not constitutionally independent. Oh yeah, I mean, Trump's leaning on it, but so it's somebody else with enough pressure. That dam's not going to burst overnight, but wait till there's a shock. Right now, our debt is high, it's soaring, our politics are paralyzed. Those are two of the three key ingredients to having a debt crisis. The third is a big shock. Now, in the United States, a debt crisis doesn't necessarily mean we won't pay, but it puts pressure either to have forced saving, basically financial repression. That's what it is. Europe already has, certainly the Eurozone already has a lot of that. It can mean inflation. That's not a solution, but that can be a part of it. Trump obviously was flirting a little bit with default. That's in the Mar-a-Lago plan of Steve Moran, who had been the head of the Council of Economic Advisors, is now headed for the Federal Reserve. We had a clause in the Senate bill that didn't make it into law, but got pretty far, that would have allowed the president to, at his discretion, impose taxes up to 20% on the investment income of foreigners. But those are all forms of default. And so I think when we see duress, that's when we'll see the true colors. But we've had this period where that hasn't happened, but to think that it never would, it's very much like, I can't tell you how many economists were saying there'll never be another Great Depression. There'll never be another global financial crisis. We're too smart. We figured it out. The markets are better. I won't name names, but Nobel Prize winning, most famous economists were saying this emphatically in big speeches. And it happened. The same thing about inflation. People just thought it would never happen. And I would say this now about debt duress. They think, well, the last time the U.S. defaulted was 1930, the early 1930s under Franklin Roosevelt. We did default on our debt when we abrogated the gold clauses. And of course, the UK and France also defaulted on their war loans during that period. That hasn't happened in a long time. But, if there's enough stress because of a cyber war, a pandemic, some huge climate crisis, we have this much debt and this much stress, they're going to look at what I would call the heterodox playbook, which is, look at all these options.